Hi, Dr. Corey Huck, the CEO and founder of Fusion, and I'm going to share the founder story. So I'm going to go way back. I'm going to go back to my childhood because there's context. So I grew up in Rochester, Minnesota, and thick accent. I got to make sure that's thrown in there. Home of the Mayo Clinic, and I had a lot of family and friends who worked for the Mayo Clinic. It was kind of a natural upbringing to want to serve the health and well-being of people in society. It was an alignment of my purpose. And so when I went to school, part of my personality was helping people. And I would come home from school all excited about what I learned. And almost always my mother let me know just a few years ago, she's like, you would be so excited to teach or train me about how the body works and how to be healthy. And she's like, I was a nurse and you were coming home and teaching me how to make people be the best versions of themselves. That's really ingrained in me since childhood. So as I advanced throughout my schooling and the more I worked with people, the more I was drawn to figure out a way to support the health and well-being of people. I didn't really know what that clinical role would be. And it was role modeled throughout the community. There was doctor of this, doctor of that. I'm a nurse. I'm a chiropractor. I'm a physical therapist. So I started to explore all different professions, and I was a hockey player. So I just had a natural tendency to want to work with people, want to help people. And that's a lot of people with a background in health and well-being. They're drawn to helping and serving people. So it wasn't until I started interning actually at Mayo Clinic in a hospital that I realized I'm not drawn to work with people who are really sick, people who are at the lowest level of their life, who are completely devastated as they're battling through cancer, diabetes, heart disease, stroke. I wanted to help people from a holistic standpoint, help people thrive, to put a smile on people's faces, to help understand that life is dynamic and complex. How can we help people show up every day to be the best versions of themselves? And that was really something I had to discover through lots of self-reflection, lots of job shadowing, lots of networking. And so I pursued an undergraduate degree in pre-medicine and nutrition science. And I did some sifting and sorting and gained a lot of experience working in prevention and worked in lots of different contexts, lots of different jobs. I was a hockey coach, a counselor, put up greenhouses, worked in corporate warehouses, and just accumulated all these experiences and got to know people really well. And so I was like, I don't want to just serve and support people who are sick. I want to help all walks of life in all industries and all different people. So I picked up a master's degree in exercise science and kinesiology so I could piece together some of the exercise with some of the nutrition to help continue to serve people. And I'm like, this can't be it. There's got to be something more. What is a more holistic standpoint of what people are trying to achieve in life? And I discovered the term wellness, and I was drawn to wellness. And I explored, are there doctoral degrees somewhere in the field of physical activity, nutrition, and wellness? And actually that exact title existed in Arizona State, in their university down here in Phoenix. So that Minnesota boy ran down to the desert, and I explored this field of wellness. And when I came out of my doctoral degree, I started to really, truly hone in on my purpose and formulate with some clarity what I was really striving to do and how I was going to help people. And that purpose was to equip and empower professionals to show up every day as the best versions of themselves. And so I became a professor at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, and I was working with young professionals. And beyond my role as a professor, I was also an associate dean, and I was involved in community work, and I was supporting other organizations, and I was a consultant, and I was an evaluator. Lots of sifting and sorting, helping lots of different people. And really what I realized was people are struggling in today's digital age. The biggest barrier to not sustaining healthy lifestyles was spending time on their phones and watching television. I dug into the American time use data, and this is data on hundreds of thousands and millions of Americans. And what we found was the number one recreational activity, meaning the number one activity outside of work, was television viewing and smartphone use. That's what Americans were doing for recreation. So as a health professional, when I started to dive in and support people around adopting and sustaining healthy behaviors, we kept hearing the number one barrier was time. I don't have time. I'm busy. I live in this this busy world, this busyness culture. The Germans actually have a term for it. They call it hurry sickness. And it was just too challenging to overcome that time barrier. It was that and cost. So I'm like, all right, if I'm going to help people become the best versions of themselves and fulfill their purpose and my purpose, then I have to figure this time management issue out and really help people become the best version of themselves in a digital age. So how do I dive into that? What are the principles? When you go straight to a young adult or a professional and you say, you're spending a lot of time, you should do this. The shoulding on people just isn't effective for behavior change and helping people. So I had to try to become an expert and read up on how do I help empower people to be the best versions of themselves. Not point my finger at them and scold them or try to tell them what to do, to empower them, to help them gain the confidence in their ability to go out and do something. And so I then researched, okay, so what's the right sequence? What's the right formula to help empower people? And what I quickly discovered is it starts with self-awareness. Everything starts with becoming more aware of how you think, how you feel, what you're doing. Are those in alignment with what really matters to you in life? And then you're thinking about your relationships. How am I showing up as the best version of me for other people? Other people at work, other people at home, other people in my community, all different contexts. And then the pandemic happened and people were stuck at home. And there was a little bit more time for reflection and people were thinking about what matters to them most in life. Simultaneously, like at the exact same time, they're forced to stay home and not be with other people. Some people thrived, some people really struggled. What was the special ingredient for why some people really thrived? It really came down to self-awareness, self-reflection, and intentionally moving towards a place where they wanted to be. It was about growth. It was about intentional action. It was about planning. It was about deliberate practice. So coming out of the pandemic, some people came out of it with more stress, more disengaged from work, and others came out and thrived. I was compelled. How do I help more people thrive? At the time, I tried a couple businesses on my own as a solopreneur. It just wasn't easy. I was missing so many essential aspects of being a successful entrepreneur and starting a business. I didn't have much experience in sales. I had little to no design expertise and creativity. And so I needed to either resource those out and find third-party vendors and really hustle to try to find an effective way to do that and spend a lot of money and get investors, or build a team around me with people who had the expertise who I could trust and actually enjoy working with. And I did the later. And we're off and running. We're having a blast and we're setting ourselves up for this awesome launch pad for success. So some people have asked me the question, why did you just try to do all this on your own? Could you accomplish this as a professor at the university? And the best way to answer it is to make a bigger impact, to really bring this to scale, to have a really big scope of supporting people and making the biggest impact. Like as I reflect on my life, I want to think back and I want to know I've impacted hundreds of thousands of people, maybe 1 million people, right? If I had to come up with a BHAG, I could say, I want to support 1 million people and help them truly live the best lives possible. I can't accomplish that on my own. I can't accomplish that even through continuing education through one university or through LinkedIn learning class or even writing a book. I need a massive platform and I need help to build that vehicle to achieve that massive goal. And with Experience Fusion, I have it. I couldn't be more excited about the potential for this business. And I'm really excited to share what we have to offer to all of you.